one of your opening statements just raised the hairs on the back of my neck. And you said fluff of a dandelion. And in my book, when one of the channeling sessions, October the 25th, 2019, this is what came through us. He is showing me the daisies and the clocks when you blow them and spreading the seeds. Dandelion ones, yeah. But sometimes it comes naturally with the wind. It travels on the wind. You do not have to blow it. It travels on the wind, it travels on the sound, it travels on the vibrations, but it travels from the universe. Long
Yes.
pause.
Yes.
So
And that
the words
phrase,
might be different, but the message is the same.
exact, that phrase came to us from Plotinus. It was Plotinus who said, skipping the rock over the water or blowing the dandelion. So it came from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We asked for help for how to best get the message out and be focused in the best possible way for this. And that's what they told us. Oh, that's wonderful.
Welcome to the same end.
Ah,
Yes.
they're all talking to each other.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Thanks.
I often marvel at how heavy the veil is that's imposed by our physical reality. It's very, very dense, and when we start to uh, hear and see and feel through it, it's like, oh my God, where have we been? I get the impression that you're very much sharing that feeling and having a very different perspective of the whole physical framework. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Sally.
I just wanted to ask, what have been the primary themes, excuse my bird in the background, what have been the primary themes that Plotinus and Hypatia are bringing forth now for a new time frame compared to, say, what they did back when they were living and walking the earth?
Well, I'm not sure I can talk about time. I can tell you what, and they said I hadn't done this yet, and I had promised I would do this. So I'm going to take the opportunity from your question. They had a series of messages that they said are important for now. Is this what you're asking essentially? Okay, so I'm going to
This
read
is
it.
the afterword in the book at the end of the book.
I've summarized. It's throughout I mean, Gary was making fun of me yesterday. I was rereading the book and I was marking, he said, it's like you're a student sitting for an exam. Because I was marking everything, all of their conversations and what they'd highlighted. And they talk about what it's like in the afterlife and evil and oneness and just music and creativity and all of this stuff. But to summarize,
But it was amusing to me that she's studying her own book
But-
to take the final exam over this book.
but I don't know what they say.
Right.
I
When
mean-
you're channeling, you don't hold it.
It's like, oh,
It
wow.
comes through you, not from you. Right.
And like as Natalie, a friend in the Netherlands, said, it's like being a speaking tube. So you're the speaking tube. It doesn't, it comes through you. And I had to go, wow. So I'm going to summarize. The first one was what you do to others, you do to yourself. We are all one. We are all connected. Separation is an illusion. Remember who you truly are, the light within, connected to everything and everyone. Underneath everything is this foundation of peace, love, compassion, and connection. There is purpose and love in the universe. Love is the universe. We are real. There is more than this petty material world you fight over. There is life after life. Consciousness continues. We are always here, not there. Now is the time. It is of central urgency and importance for humans to remember to love each other, and not just humans, but love all living things, plants, animals, the earth itself. These are challenging times for humanity and planet Earth, full of potential and possibility to rise out of disharmony and fraught with danger if you do not. You must do all you can to alleviate suffering, to restore harmony. Act with loving kindness and compassion. The purpose of life is to grow in knowledge and experience, and in love and light, to live to your fullest potential, to live from your heart with heart and love, to feel your unity with the all, to be a blessing to others and send blessings. Love one another and remember to have fun. Play. It's not so serious. You will get another chance and another and another. You are so very loved.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful.
That was my summary of what they've said in more depth, but I wanted to make sure it was available just as a, yeah. Is that what you were wanting to hear?
Absolutely. And it's very consistent with what comes from spirit over and over again. It's kind of the answers to the perennial questions we've always been asking. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Regina.
Hi, Elyn and Gary. Fantastic presentation. And I totally get the stress or the feeling of anxiety or presentation stuff. It's not easy sometimes, but for some people it is. The first time I channeled, it was long after I'd had a lifetime of experience, many lives, a lot of experiences, like you're saying, where the veil is thin, but not where it's the being is coming through and using your mouth and the whole, they are owning your body for the time that they're coming through. And that experience really cannot be expressed as far as the psychological experience as well, because there's a lot of words that just don't work for it. So I appreciate what you're saying and how you're feeling. And the first time it happened to me, it was so pronounced and such a shock. And there was no permission, but the entity that was coming through was not a highly enlightened being, but had great message information. But just shoved me to the side of my face. All myself was just shoved right over so that this person could speak to the other person in the room and get the message out quickly. But over the time, things change, in each entity. I was going to ask you, does Hypatia come through you differently?
That's such an interesting question because in one of the conversations, somebody asked me, well, why hasn't Hypatia come through you? So I said, okay, I'll ask her. And she said, well, I know you don't like it. So why would I? And then she said, but I'll do it. And she came through and my mouth changed in a different way. And my voice pattern was different. But it was very clear. She's going, I'm just doing this to show you, but I'm not going to do this again. And then last week, the collective came through, and I think of them as a collective, as a sort of a Greek choir. They're a group that includes Plotinus and Hypatia and Michael and and a few others that come and go. And they came through, and my voice was different, and it was unexpected. But in general, I mean, they respect what I've said. I'm really not comfortable with it, so please don't. But when they have a big point to make,
or when they need to speak to me, you'll often speak with their voice.
Yeah, that's right. That's when they came through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not being assigned to, oh, you've got a trick voice now. I'm just joking. Enjoy the the wonderful energy when they're in your body. Just enjoy that uniqueness, that sensation, and because it's only there for that moment in time. And then you're with the responsibility of carrying the message forward. And you did a beautiful job in your book.
Oh, well, thank
It's really good.
you.
Mm.
I mean, I didn't explain to the group, if you haven't read the book, but what I ended up doing was saying, okay, I'm not going to speak with your voice, but I'll talk to you. And so I sit there with a pen and, a notebook, and I ask them questions mentally or sometimes aloud. And I wait, and then I hear the response and I just write it down. And then I turn it into a Word file. And I write down exactly what I hear. And in the book, to make it, there are things that I know what they were saying, that the sentence might be incomplete. So I put that information in brackets, but everything that's there is clearly what they said. And if it isn't, then it's clear that I've added it and I show that. But that's my level of comfort. But even having them speaking to me, it's so comforting that they're there. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I knew that this group, of all groups, would be receptive to this. And so even so, I'm hearing myself talk about my doubts and my concerns and my discomfort, and yet I know that this group of among many, unlike some other groups I could imagine, would be extremely receptive. So, and I thank you.
If it gives you any consolation, I've been doing this since 1986, where the voices are coming through, and it still surprises me. It just overwhelms me. It still makes me go, "What? Really?" And so I get it. But anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to take up Lloyd and Gloria's moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Lloyd, please. You're now. Sorry. Were you done, Regina? Okay, Lloyd, you're on.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's wonderful to hear about this direct voice mediumship that at least you did for a while. There doesn't seem to have been a lot of it recently, but my parents actively pursued it back in 1959, 1960. And my dad was telling me of his experience he was at a filing cabinet or something, and he just felt this presence and he allowed it to take over. And so for years, we would gather maybe once a week, draw the curtains so the fundamentalists and the skeptics couldn't know what we were doing. And we'd have a seance. This was my growing up. And dad would bring various spirits through. There was a control spirit that they would take over his vocal cords, and he would be gone. He wouldn't always remember. And he also helped develop a couple of other mediums of that same kind. And Mom also started participating after a while. So it's wonderful to hear about that. It's special to me. I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Lloyd, just so you know, this still happens a lot in Brazil in spiritist households. And Gloria's not nodding because she's been studying Spiritism, and it's very normal in a Spiritist house. I've got lots of friends who are Spiritists, and they say, yes, once a month when we have a family gathering, all the relatives come through, and it's channeling is quite normal in many contexts. I imagine. You and Regina, Elyn, share a very strong connection with Native Americans. And I'm fairly sure, Regina, that it's normal in Native American culture as well. Am I right? Channeling?
It's accepted, yes, by the shamans. Yes, absolutely.
And I think it's part of shamanism. Kim is a shaman. Kim, is this part of your shamanistic heritage?
Yes, it is part of shamanism, and did my, I was just having a grin because I actually did a shamanic apprenticeship in America and had to you sit a testing circle every year, and at the end of the final year is the big testing circle. And I don't perform well in examinations. My brain just goes to mush. So as it was getting more and more close to my time, and I'm thinking, oh Lord, she's going to ask me, and she started asking me the question, and it went on and on and on, and I couldn't even get my head around the question, and I was really starting to panic. And this lovely female voice, very authoritative, said, get out of the way and I'll take care of this. And I literally left that body, and I was above my body and I could hear my voice, but I couldn't hear what it was saying. I still to this day do not know what the question or the answer was. But when I shot back in, everybody was talking about how my voice had changed and the speed of my voice had changed. And the woman next to me, who was clairvoyant, leant over and said, you cheated. You left your body and something else came in. She'd seen literally come in, right? And I said, I didn't cheat, because the person asking the question had asked for an oracle, and I figure an oracle just happened to show up like that. Thank you. So yeah, it's part of shamanism, and I have experienced it, and it's an amazing feeling. And yeah, a lifetime of weird and wonderful, and I still am in awe of it and love it and honour it every day, I hope. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
So,
Lloyd, anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I can't think of anything. I'm just basking in all the conversation here.
okay, Gloria.
Yes, I have been studying Spiritism, and I ask specifically, why is it so pervasive in Brazil? And I was told it's because there's been least resistance there. And so Spirit was very wise and is developing more spiritual contact through the Brazilians just because there was less resistance. And just this morning I was reading Allan Kardec, and just because the number one directive in his book is to love one another. And the number two directive is to educate yourself. And so that's what we're doing as a people. And like Elyn said, it's to evolve. And my question, and I haven't read the book yet, and I'm really looking forward to reading it, is what kind of feedback have you gotten from your collective since you published the book, since you finished the book? I'd be really interested in their perspective on the book.
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I mean, I can't answer that directly. I can answer prior to publication. I talked to them about the title, and the title changed various times. And they'd say, well, that title's all right for now. And then finally, thanks to Natalie saying, and it didn't have me in it at all. It was all sort of wisdom from beyond, wisdom from Plotinus, Hypatia, whatever. And my friend Natalie, who read a version of it, said, it's really about, so much of it includes you and how it's changed you. You have to forefront that. And I was like, oh no. And then the title came to me, and the reluctant medium, that's me. And I asked them, they said, yeah, that's right. And they had something to say about the previous versions of the cover, because we'd asked them. And we had one we finally settled on, and they really didn't like it too well, but we said, well, that's it. Sorry. I mean, Plotinus didn't like the hearts, and Hypatia liked the underlying geometry, and Michael thought it should be more austere. And we said, look, enough of this. We're just using that cover. And then a friend of ours, who by accident had been sent an email by Gary about the cover, and he's an artist. And
Yeah, he's
very,
a well-known
very busy
sculptor here
painter
in Catalonia.
Yeah, and he's a neighbor, and he's like soul family. But Gary sent him this email about the cover, even though he shouldn't have gotten it. And he got back to us and he said, oh, I'll help you with the cover. And I mean, totally out of the blue. And that's his, so he came up with this design, which we worked with him for the, you know, for changing the font a little bit and the colors that I felt were more expressive of what I wanted. And but I'm sure that they tapped Carlos on the shoulder and said, look, these guys need some help. You know, we don't like what they've done so far. Um, so I can say that they're happy with the title and they're happy with the cover. And they keep saying that they are there for us to support us in getting the word out because they want the word out there. So we just trust that they're working behind the scenes and tapping people on the shoulder and saying, hey, you know, get them on your podcast or, you know, get those books out there, buy those books. And um, something sort of sideways from this, but it's part of it. In the book, we talk about this big music project that Gary and I did this year. That was we shared a dream, and we both knew we had to do this music project together. And it was pretty horrific trying to do it together. It showed all of our relationship strains. It's called Celebration, and it's about raising the frequency of the planet. And that's what we both get. We shared a dream. I had this dream about what needed to be said, and Gary was making noises next to me. And when he woke up, he said, oh, he just had this dream that was about what I was dreaming. And we went, okay, I guess we're doing this. Spirit said, do this. So we got to work, and Gary, who hadn't composed in 30 years, got back to work.
Mm-hmm. And there's the piece. There's a full score. Has not been performed yet, but well, it's done.
And the reason I'm bringing it up is that some months ago, we were in contact with some people in England who were interested in maybe being able to facilitate a performance of it. We have it on YouTube, and you can go to YouTube and see it. But to facilitate a performance, we haven't heard.
How would we search for it on YouTube? What's the title?
I'll type in the chat. Should I type in the chat?
Yes, put it in the chat.
Yeah, please.
But so I've been thinking, well, I wonder whether once we get we get on the podcast tonight and we're getting the word out about the book, whether they will somehow nudge somebody about the performance, because this couple who's supposed to be doing something with it said they'd get in touch with us a month ago, and we haven't heard word once. So this afternoon, as we're preparing for the podcast, we get a long email from them saying, yes, they've been contacting people and they want us to know they think they are going to be able to do a very small performance of it that could be the seed for getting Celebration out there. And so the reason I was bringing that up is because I think that Plotinus and the guys are behind that. Let me type this in. HTTP.
Is it an orchestral piece or ensemble or?
It's a piece for chorus, strings, and percussion, and audience participation.
Oh, wonderful.
The idea of the piece is the unity of consciousness. We're all one. And so the whole piece is to bring the performers and the audience into one space, and having the audience participate. I wrote several rounds that the audience sings along with the chorus, and we have instructions to have people sitting in the audience who know the music so that they will be leaders in the audience to get the audience going. And at the end of the piece, all the performers go down from the stage into the audience, and that's the way the piece ends. So it's the whole piece is to bring unity.
It starts with gratitude and having people sort of feel into and experience gratitude in different ways. And then it moves into how we're all connected literally to the elements experiencing that in our bodies. And then the interrelatedness, Native American, Mitakuye Oyasin, we are all related, and various readings and responsive readings. And the MC is kind of leading everybody through some meditation and breathing and all this. And then ultimately the Indra's web, that we're all connected, we're all nodes on this 3 to 4 or 5 dimensional web, that everything's connected in quantum physics, and we're all one, and that's the celebration.
So sounds like you've written a participatory opera.
Yes.
That's a good
There you go.
description. Yes.
So I did post the link.
Thank you.
We did a sort of computerized version of it to get something up.
I did the music using my computer software, so it's not live performance with strings, but you get an impression.
Wonderful. Thank you. Gary.
Yeah, Elyn and Gary, I wanted to thank you both for a wonderful presentation today. And I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal this to you, but did Plotinus tell you this is only the first book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. There are other books. In fact, I'm supposed to. Hypatia told me that I have to talk about powerful women throughout history.
And she reminded you that you had started it several years ago.
6 years ago. But I didn't go anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And
well,
yeah, that's the next one. I said, oh, please, I'm still stuck on this one. We have to keep the focus and get this out there.
And the other thing is you've been taking lessons from Cheryl Page, because your book was tagged just like all of Cheryl's favorite books are. So she has markers for everything in books that really stand out for her. So I just wanted to thank you both, and I'll get to talk to you next week, and I look forward to that.
We're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Lynn and Bob.
Okay, I had a couple of questions. I did read Elyn and Gary's book, and I read in the book about an Egyptian god, Thoth. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That he was tapped you on your forehead with his stylus, and you did some research, and it leaned toward the that being an initiation that enhances claircognizance. So I was wondering, have you been using this gift of claircognizance, or no?
Hi, Lynn and Bob. At the time, and I wrote in the book, I said, oh my gosh, I think my bandwidth is, my bandwidth is expanded as far as I can expand at this moment. I'm focusing on trying to get this book out there and get the message out there. And so I don't want to go there yet.
Okay.
If it hits me in the head, I'm there. But in terms of
not yet.
I'm full up. I'm
okay. Well,
happen. It was
my
yeah.
I have a second question. Okay. Like I said, I read the book, and with all of the love and support that you've been receiving, have you noticed the ability to spread love easier, like being less judgmental or seeing us as all one, for instance? Like, have you noticed that?
I think that in general, over the last year, I am less reactive, except to Gary. The hardest one is the person next to you that you interact with all the time. But in terms of being, I mean, I still get upset about the world situation, but I try to step back and, just know that getting upset certainly doesn't help the situation at all. And that sending blessings and sending love where there is chaos and anger and negativity is the way to go, rather than being reactive. I certainly I feel much more supported. It's not just sort of me alone in the universe in some way, that I'm just much more supported. I mean, they're there. They're there. They want to help. They're saying, you know, um, Suzanne Giesemann will often say, you are so very loved. And the guys have been saying that too. And I say, oh, that's what Suzanne Giesemann says. And she says, well, it's because it's true. And it can feel very abstract. It's fine to say that, but the feeling, how do I feel? And they have been present to me during some very difficult times, and I have felt very loved.
That's wonderful.
Thanks for asking, Lynn.
I think for me, that Hypatia's statement has had a major impact on me, and that is, what you do to another, you do to yourself. That's, to me, the golden rule writ large, because it comes back to you. And I think I see it. I see it in my own life. When we get at odds, it comes back to me.
It shifted you.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It has shifted our interaction.
Yes, it has. No question about it. No question about
it. Yay. Okay. You can mute me. Okay. That's it.
Okay, thank
Do you have
you.
any questions, Bob?
No.
Okay. You had a question.
Regina.
You're muted.
Unmute, please.
Always forget that. Oh, right at the very beginning, Elyn. Is it Elyn or Elyn?
It's Elyn.
Okay, Elyn. At the very beginning, you had mentioned how they are your friends. And that alone is not alone. And those messages are so incredibly powerful in themselves. The fact that they are your friends. You've only been doing this for a very short time, and they will remain your friends for as long as you need them there or want them there, wish them to be by your side. I am amazed. I have so many on the other side that stop in and say hi, just waving at me or giving a touch, or I ask them a question. I'm so frustrated, I need some help. And there they are. It's just an amazing thing. And alone is just a non-existent state of mind. It's a state of mind, not a state of being alone. And because we're not. Mm-hmm. And Dan earlier said how thick the veil can be. And Gloria had mentioned about the fact that Brazil was more open to receiving information. The veil and the thickness is all a state of our mind, again. And we can either walk with knowing that there's always somebody there, whether you can feel them or not, they're there. And the more you walk with that knowing and accept that and know that they're there, that veil immediately is non-existent. It's just a space that travels, that energy flows between, and it's their communication. And either you pick up the phone or you leave it hanging on the line or on a rope. But you can pick up that phone anytime, and they're right there in that space going, hey, you answered. I've been calling for years now. So I just wanted to thank you again for mentioning that they are your friends, because that is who they are. More than anything, they're your friends.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
You know,
Thank you.
they'll say, when I say, are you there? And they go, no, we're not there. We're here.
Perfect. Perfect. Lloyd.
Yeah, well, on that subject, there's a song called "You Never Walk Alone"
Right.
from some musical. It's just a beautiful song. I was wondering, is Marcus Aurelius a part of the group that's contacted you?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I know that Plotinus is there. I know that Hypatia is there. Marsilio Ficino as in the guise of, or Michael Freda in the guise of Marsilio, and they were all. Michael wasn't, but
Pythagoras.
well, Pythagoras shows up sometimes. Asclepius shows up sometimes. I don't know that they're part of the group. They get brought in for specific reasons. It's mostly these Greeks, but it's not Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
Mostly Neoplatonic focus, and of which I know very little because I'm not a philosopher. And I tried hard not to learn much about it because I didn't want that to influence what was channeling through me. So no, but I mean, I can ask because folks come and go. Yeah.
Yeah. Because my dad was working with a young medium who didn't have a college education, who started speaking a bunch of foreign languages in his sleep. And so dad brought in some experts in those languages. And this one claimed to be Marcus Aurelius. And of course, the expert thought, oh, yeah, and you're Cleopatra too, that kind of thing. So he threw him a question in Latin, and they had a long conversation in Latin for, for, I don't know, minutes. I don't know how long it was, but yeah. So I'm suddenly curious, where is he?
Well, you better ask him.
Yeah. Well, I really need to develop my mediumship more. I'm aware it's there. I'm aware of sometimes my dad just tells me something out of the blue, but nothing as concrete as I hear people doing here. It's something I need to follow. Thank you very much for your inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd, for that. I love stories of hearing skeptics getting their comeuppance.
Really?
Case in point.
Yeah. Thanks, Lloyd. Now, someone has raised their hand, and their name seems to be 36531.
It's Karen Kellogg, and I'm good friends with Elyn and Gary. And sorry, I can't change my name. I don't know what's going on. I can't change my number. I'm so glad that you both were open to this. And one of my questions was, there's lots of information that keeps coming out. Why did they think their information was so important?
Okay. What I'm hearing is they say that everybody hears things from a different perspective. I get the image of, and it's in the book too, there's an image of a prism. Or actually, they gave me the image in the book of a sculpture that you're holding and you're looking at from different angles. And so hearing information coming through from different sources that is in many ways very similar gives people the opportunity they relate to one more than to another. They connect to one source of information or one way of saying it or one source more than another.
That makes total sense. I mean, the more we get that information out from different angles, the better. And I think for me today, it was a great reminder that I'm not alone, because I've been feeling very alone lately. So I appreciate that message. But I think that message was mine.
Oh,
So thank you. And
glad. It's good to see
And
you.
I look forward to Zooming with you sometime and also reading the book. I'm excited to read the book. So thank you.
Message. Thanks for coming.
And Karen's name has just magically appeared on her image.
Wow, you changed.
Well, that's interesting, except that there's another G, but that is weird.
Well,
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Dan, you're a magician.
No, well, someone must have put it, but there's got
Thanks
to
to
be a
whoever
prosaic.
did.
It's got to be a prosaic explanation. So, anyone else have any questions for Elyn?
Gloria, did you have anything else to add, Gloria? Because I thought you were.
How did you know that?
I thought you were a bit cut off.
I was going to respond to what Elyn said. When I was in college, in my doctoral program, statistics. I must have had to take 4 statistics classes, and invariably it was someone who wasn't real good at English. And I would say to them what your guides just said to you. I would say, I didn't understand it the way you just explained it. Could you explain it a different way so that I can get it? And outside the classroom, the other students would say to me, oh, thank you. I was scared to death to ask, but I didn't get it the first time either. But when he explained it the second time a different way, I got it. And so this is such a great explanation that you were given, because the more we can get the information out from different perspectives, the more people are going to be able to relate to the message. So thank you for that.
Thank them.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, I gotta say something again. You were talking, let's see, it was Lloyd who was talking about Marcus Aurelius and or asking about. And one thing, I was just chatting with my friends on the other side, and Lloyd, is that you? Yeah, you asked about Marcus. Okay. And what they're saying is that these are different vibrations. The ones that are working with Elyn and Gary are a particular type of vibration or energy. Not that they don't come from the same level of soul and love and things, but it's just a different vibration. One's an apple, one's an orange, you got a fruit basket. So they're all these different fruits. So Marcus is the orange and Plotinus is the apple. So whoever's eating from the apples, they're all getting with the same group, okay, same tribe or whatever. But it's just a different vibration. And some of them are basically assigned to the background of that individual. Where Elyn has this skill, and she already has, both Elyn and Gary have all these book knowledges, book understandings, and how to write it and get that information out quickly. Others do not, and others would not be able to produce that type of a book as quickly with this kind of information. So, and Elyn and Gary are reaching a different level of intellect with their book, because it's a lot of the people that they are sourced with, their studied groups. And so it's amazing how the different entities will come forward in with the different mediums. And Elyn and Gary are fortunate to have these 1,700-year-old beings there. How exciting. So it's interesting. I have learned so much in the last 10 years regarding vibrations and how the different ones are coming through different individuals, and they're selected for who they can get the word out to.
Mhm.
It's a hot potato.
Lloyd.
Yeah, just real briefly, I could imagine that somebody who was an emperor of Rome, even if they were a philosopher king, would have a vibration from a lifetime of dealing with power that would be different from a philosopher dealing with just philosophy.
Elyn and Gary, you have, oh, I'm sorry. Karen, please, you have your hand up. You had a question.
It's not a question. I was just going to share an experience. I just had my dad come through one time, which was really my first experience with something like that. I was watching television and I just heard that my father and my mother and this other individual who was really important to me in my life wanted to speak to me. And I was like, really? I really want to continue to see the end of this show, which I couldn't believe I said that. Because, but then I thought, wait a minute. And so just seconds later, I said, okay, turn off the television. And I went into the other room and I had a lot of issues with my father. He was wonderful. He was loving, but he banged heads quite a bit. And I've never felt like he really understood who I was. And he said he finally understood who I was and he was sorry that he couldn't have helped me more. And I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. Mm-hmm. And so it was so helpful. And I know it was real because I got interrupted. It wasn't like I sat down and said, okay, I need a message. And so I totally trusted it. I've tried some other times to get information and then I'm not always trusting, is this me talking to myself or is somebody else talking? So I've been curious about trying it some more, but I haven't really sat down to do it. And it's like when I know it, when it really comes through, I know it, but other times I'm thinking, well, am I not trusting it or what? And I did have an experience, my partner, it didn't like the fact that I wouldn't wear my seatbelt sometimes when I was in the car. And he said, just think of it as a hug from me each time.
Oh.
And so I know that I get messages. So I would like to do more experiencing of that.
I really like that. I have two friends who don't like wearing their seatbelts, and thank you for that prompt. I will use it with them. Carolyn, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I moved. The little image moved. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Elyn and Gary, because I know just how late it must be for them in Spain right now, because it's nearly midnight for me here. So thank you for staying up so late.
Well, Carolyn, thank you for showing up and being here.
Well, thank you for having the invite. I mean, it was, I don't go on Facebook much, so I just happened to notice it today. And then, as you know, I texted you a few things today and got the invite. So thank you. I don't have anything more to add. I don't channel or anything. Well, I'm not really channeling except once, a little while ago.
What was that? What was that once experience like?
Well, it wasn't really channeling. It was my mother died at the end of last year. She was 104 years old. And but before she did, she came to visit me in spirit. You know, it was very strong. She sat in my car and I drove home and I showed her where I live because she'd never seen it because she hadn't left her home for 20 years or something. She was in a care home. So she came and sort of showed it, right, I'm okay, and you know, here's where I live, and everything like that. But that's about the nearest that I might get to channeling. But I've never consciously given up myself to somebody else channeling through me.
But you trusted your mom.
Oh, I trust my intuition. I've learned to trust my intuition since I was very small. It gives me lots of answers to things. In fact, I totally rely on it. I'm an engineer, and I can't solve problems except through intuition.
Bill.
That's it.
Yes,
Thanks.
I think that the hardest thing to do is to allow yourself to, if you like, be taken over by the energy that's there. And for me, it's very rare that you actually remember anything that was said. But during COVID, what happened with Freda and myself were up meeting on Zoom, just the pair of us. And what we found was quite often you were getting a change in the throat. You were like a blue sort of haze around the throat area. And then I'd just disappear off. And when you play the recording back, it's like this weird voice. It's different. It's totally different. And what they said was that they just caught the vocal cords. It's so easy for them just to sort of change your vocal cords so that you know it's someone different speaking. And they can talk quite fast, or they can talk very slow and measured, and sort of high pitch, low pitch. I mean, I had a woman through the very first time I sat with Freda, and this guy came through, and the strange thing was that Freda was talking like a man, and these two people, Freda's guide, my guide, were talking to each other, but they were talking about me, and I could hear it. It sort of in my mind, I knew what, and I was thinking, they're talking about me. How's that happening? And you couldn't say anything. You just had to sit there. You were sort of like frozen in the chair, and this voice is coming out, and you just can't do anything about it. And then it changed to a much softer voice, and this lady come through. She said she was a witch. And but she died before the fire. She felt the sort of heat of the fire. But it's once you're able to surrender, if you like, it's just to move sort of slightly out the way. But sometimes they take us on journeys, and I can remember where they take us, but it's got nothing to do with what's being said. And it's just weird how they work, but it's absolutely fascinating. I love it. That's it.
Thanks, Bill. Anyone else? Karen.
Off.
I guess I'm on a roll. That reminded me of having some healing work done on me, and I was having an issue with my knee, and the person working on me said, "Why don't you ask your knee to speak?" And it's like, oh yeah, oh, well, okay. So I did, and I did have that experience of the throat where my voice was being taken over. I could feel my knee talking to me and telling me what to do in order to heal it. That was really fascinating. So I know our body talks to us, but I never knew it could talk that way. So that was fascinating. I've tried it before. I've tried it other times. I haven't had that same experience of just having the throat change and the words coming out of my mouth. But it was a wonderful experience.
True. All right. Does anybody else have anything to say, or shall we wind up at this point? Now, Regina, did you want to talk about Jeannie's channeling of Seth?
Yeah.
I think I put the details in this week's Friday report.
Yeah, I'll just put her email right here as well into the chat.
If anybody would like to be involved in that.
There we go.
I think it will be absolutely fascinating.
It is. And she speaks really fast when she's got Seth in. And boy, it's it big. The energy's real big. I'm wiped out. I mean, I literally am knocked out. I go, Jean, is it over? Sometimes it's wild. It's wild. Anyway. Elyn?
And Jean's channeling of Seth is just amazing. Just the sheer energy level of it is just, it blows me away. And I think I've heard everything, but this is nothing like this. It's quite amazing.